Hey, thanks, John. Day 2 of the Minnesota Ag Expo, the annual meeting at the Minnesota Corn Growers and Soybean Growers. Another big crowd here again at the Verizon Wireless Center in Mankato. If you don't have anything to do, the trade show is open until 4 or 5, something like that this afternoon. Lots of seminars going on, so come on by. I'd like to say special thank you to some of these sponsors of all my reports from the Minnesota Ag Expo and today's AM Minnesota program, including the Minnesota Corn Growers, Minnesota Soybean Growers, the Genta Seeds Research Center of Stanton, the Craig Keller Insurance Agency in Nerstrand, Windsor Accounting and Tax Services in Owatonna, and Isaac's Implement over there in Nerstrand. Dwayne Schmall is here with me at the Minnesota Ag Expo. Dwayne's been very involved with the Minnesota Soybean Growers and Corn Growers over the years, and now he's with the U.S. Meat Export Federation. Also here is Matt Braun. Of course, Matt is very involved with the Dakota Rice Corn and Soybean Growers. And Matt, why don't you explain what I said to you yesterday when you showed up? It's tradition. You've got to be on AM Minnesota for a little while.
Yeah, this is my 3rd year doing an interview with you, and I'm getting better at it. At first I was real nervous, but now I'm getting pretty good at it.
Well, it's easy to talk. You do a lot of the social media stuff. Well, you've been doing that for a number of years. I'm starting to catch on to that, but you caught on to that a while ago, and you've been doing a lot for the Dakota Rice Corn and Soybean Growers.
Yeah, I've actually done pretty good. I set up the Dakota Rice Corn and Soybean Growers Facebook page. It's a like page, and I try to maintain it, and I do the Twitter. I'm a Fast Grass guy on Twitter if you want to follow me, and I just try to promote ag and just keep retweeting all the ag stuff.
Some of the special events to try and educate the consumers. You coordinate a lot of those things and held events up in the metro area.
Yeah, I actually just last summer I worked with the Minnesota turkey growers and the Minnesota pork producers, and we went up and did a farm day up at the Cub Foods up in Invergrove Heights. We brought a tractor up there, and the kids.
I got noticed to represent the oilseed industry for the U.S. Meat Export Federation. Got elected that position, and the rest is kind of history. I'm still on there currently. Chairman-elect, in line to be chairman this year for that organization.
Well, we have to take a break for the markets here before too long, Bruce. But before that, why don't you just explain what the U.S. Meat Export Federation is? And it's kind of a partnership. They get support from corn growers, soybean growers, and maybe some other commodity groups.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people realize all the different sectors. There's 9 different sectors throughout the livestock industry that help support that group. You know, a lot of us just think, well, we've got pork, beef, and lamb that we're trying to export those products, but there's a lot more to that to try to be successful in that endeavor. We have corn growers, the soybean checkoff boards, farm supply, various farm organizations, processors, packers, traders. So you can see there are a lot of people that are involved in this to help move the red meat export. So
the way I look at it, I raise corn and soybeans, so I want a better price for my corn and soybeans. Whether we export it, in the bulk raw commodity, or add value to it, feed livestock, and then export the meat, I'm great with that too.
Right. Well, the key words you just spoke was add value. We look at adding value on exports. Right now, we're probably looking at about $49.50 per hog. On the beef side, it's about $280 extra that you wouldn't get if they were sold domestically.
Well, Bruce, we have to take a break for the markets. We'll continue after the market update. Hey, thanks for getting Jen, and also thanks to these sponsors of all my reports and today's AM Minnesota program. Elkhorn Clean Fuels in Claremont, the Kenyon Ag Services, Goodyear Wabasha Corn and Soybean Growers, Hill County Corn and Soybean Growers, Dakota Rice Corn and Soybean Growers, and the Dodge County Corn and Soybean Growers. Bruce Schmall is here with me. He's the president of the U.S. Meat Export Federation. Bruce, I've known you and some of your relatives for years. And, boy, you get involved and step up and start volunteering, and all at once they give you a big job, don't they?
Well, you kind of get locked into a rotation, it seems like, and each step along the way, it seems like it is more of a time commitment, but you're working with people that are just as passionate as yourself, and it's really rewarding to see everybody on the same page and working towards the same goal. And I do have to correct you on one thing, Jerry. I'm not quite president or chairman yet, so
going to be,
soon going to be this fall. So, yeah.
Before the market break, you were talking about the different species and how much exports add to the value for livestock producers, and I'm thinking, gee, that's a lot.
Well, those numbers, people don't realize what that does to their bottom line. You don't have to be a hog producer or beef producer when we come up with those numbers through U.S. Meat Export Federation, the $50 toe on the hogs and the $2.80 on the cattle side of things, that's spread across the whole food chain, everybody that's involved in animal agriculture and the exports. If we didn't have that process and exporting our livestock, you would see those numbers go away. And so you can imagine what would happen to domestic prices. So consequently, we're doing much better. We're adding value. I think all of us would rather see us add value through livestock locally than shipping our grain down the river and into other countries. So that's why we work hard to try to improve those export markets and connect with those customers internationally.
Well, Matt Brown is here too. Yeah, with the Dakota Rice corn and soybean growers. And Matt, you guys raise corn and soybeans, and you're a big supporter of the livestock industry because it helps you. We're all in this together, as Bruce just mentioned.
Yeah. I mean, I grow corn myself, and my parents grow corn and soybeans. And actually, I mean, they used to show cattle at the fair. My brother and sister used to show cattle, and we fed them corn and stuff. So we had to support our own industries. So, and I've also been working a lot because my neighbor is John Zimmerman. I work with the Minnesota turkey growers a lot, and you got to be able to support all industries because we all got to help each other.
We're all kind of in the same canoe, and Bruce really pointed that out. When the whole chain gets added value, everybody gets a little piece of that added value.
Yeah. I mean, you got to look at the big picture. I mean, agriculture is not just corn and soybeans; it's everything. I mean, it's anything to do with feeding the world and feeding America.
Well, speaking of feeding America, there's a lot of consumers that live really close to where you guys farm, and so you volunteered your time, kind of coordinated some things to try and educate the non-farming public, the consumers in the big city. Normally the response is pretty good, Matt, when you reach out to these people and try and create a commotion, go to a grocery store and park a big tractor out front.
Yeah, we did that promotion up in River Heights, and that was a great thing. And then I started with the Egg Cab Lab at Dakota County Fair, and that was unbelievable because I got Ed Terry to help me with Randolph FFA, and we just put it together. And it's just great to get the consumers in. They walk through the children's barnyard, and you look at the animals, we can talk to them and show them that we're not just factory farms, we're family farms.
Here's a great example, Bruce, of just kind of a local farmer that wants to get involved and do his part. And it's amazing what can happen when you start working together with a lot of people.
Right. Typically farmers just like to raise crops or grow livestock and, just do the best job we can. And it's kind of rare anymore that you can find farmers that are committed enough and have good enough communication skills to want to take that next step and help promote our product. So when you have guys like Matt and all the other people that are involved, it's just, it's a bright star in agriculture, and we need each one of those people to do their best and help promote our industry.
I think part of it is still getting out of your comfort zone. I mean, I'm sure, Matt, you were a little nervous when you first started, but it does get easier after a while, doesn't it?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I did that Speak for Yourself thing with the Minnesota Farm Bureau, and that got me out of my shell because they said I could start talking about drag racing and you get comfortable in what you're doing. Once you start talking, and I'm a talker, I'm not afraid to talk, but it's just really fun. I mean, it's once you get talking to people, and you just got to keep them in your comfort zone of how you talk to them like a person instead of a robot. You got to talk to them.
That's big too, isn't it, Bruce? That farm groups, commodity organizations have different programs to help farmers get out of their comfort zone and go and speak to the local Rotary or the Lions Club.
Yeah, the years I've been involved with Minnesota Soybean and now USMEF, there are a number of training programs that they do sponsor. Some of them you might travel throughout the U.S. to try to be a part of and help improve your skills. And it all goes a long ways to helping you do a better job promoting agriculture. And even with the U.S. Meat Export Federation and in conjunction with Minnesota Soybean, we've sponsored See for Yourself trips internationally. We have one going to Vietnam coming up shortly here. And it gives farmers, business people, media people a chance to really see what we do with their checkoff dollars. And in turn, we ask them to come back and communicate that to their neighbors and their friends. And so, it's a continuing learning process that everybody's improving, and it really helps agriculture in the long run.
Just yesterday, Dr. Jim Willers, who's leading a group of Minnesota soybean growers and some in the industry, they were at a See for Yourself trip down in Florida, the National Biodiesel Conference.
Yeah, that's just one of the many programs that we do, but we've been doing that process, that event for a number of years. And so, it gives people a chance to see what's happening in the biodiesel area. There are many areas, biodiesel, feed, working with animal agriculture, ag in the classroom. And so when you start looking at all the different programs, it's amazing. We can get it done with the staff we have and a few directors that we do have on the boards.
Matt, when you were up talking to consumers, you mentioned they were very receptive, but did it happen once in a while that maybe somebody came with their preconceived ideas of what we were doing and their defenses were kind of up, and you had to kind of break that wall down?
Yeah, there was actually a couple people that came up and they said, well, we see the pictures and we see everything on social media and we see how when we don't want this, and we just came and we said, no, this is not how we do it. That is what you see. Talk to the real person. It's a lot easier talking to somebody than it is, and we can tell you straight. We're not going to lie to you because we gotta feed the consumer. We care about our consumer
and the livestock that we take care of.
That's right. When you look at the booth that we have at this trade show, a lot of people aren't aware of what U.S. Meat Export Federation does. So it gives you a chance to talk to all the people that are attending this show one-on-one, answer their questions, and help educate them a little bit. And then we take it one step further. The last 3 years, we've been offering...
and I'll let the record show they were bribing us to get them to stop by. And I already have taken note. It's only about 10 steps from where we're sitting to your booth. You want to explain why, Bruce?
And apparently it's working because we usually have long lines. But no, what we do is we offer a noon type sample of some type of recipe that is served internationally. As the case today is, we have a curry pork recipe here. It's pork butts cut up, and it's with a lot of curry sauce on it, put over top of rice. So it's something that you'll smell throughout the whole trade show, and usually attracts people throughout the whole area here. But it's a heck of a promotion. Gives our farmers, producers a chance to see what we do with their checkoff dollars internationally.
Yeah, because we should point out the U.S. Meat Export Federation gets funds on probably the national level, then from the corn growers, the soybean growers, maybe the pork producers, a lot of different industries, and that's what kind of funds you guys, right?
Yeah, it's amazing, all the different sectors that are involved. You have a number of checkoff organizations, so we have to keep those funds separate from private organizations that donate money, because we can do some policy work, but that's not typically what USMEF does. Typically, the government will come to us if they have any questions asking for market intelligence, basically, and so we try to provide guidance for them when they're making decisions on policy. So it's a tough area to try to keep all these different pots of money straight, but our staff does a great job, and I think the results speak for themselves.
I know, Matt, you have to head over to the annual meeting of the corn growers. Matt's running around with a tag that says soybean delegate and corn delegate.
Yes, I'm both of them, yeah. And I like doing this delegate. I really love coming to the Minnesota Ag Expo because it's about interacting with other farmers. We're all in the same boat. We're all doing the same things. We just got to talk and see what they do and talk. And it's fun. It's fun. If you ever have a chance, just come down or be a delegate.
We've enjoyed the county corn growers where you live.
Yes, we're looking for members. Dakota Rice is looking for members. There's plenty of farmers out there. We're just looking for members. You don't have to actually be on the board, but just come and help out every once in a while if you can. And it's a fun. We try to keep it fun. We try to keep it, jokes every once in a while.
Correct you. The fun and the jokes, usually Jerry's in the fun.
Yeah, usually, we give you a little bad time there, Jerry. Yeah, you're our entertainment. Yeah, you're our entertainment, yes. Especially at our banquet and everything else, yeah. But we're always. We have a banquet on February 22nd. There's Dakota Rice. Our banquet is on February 22nd. It's a Monday night. We're welcome to everybody. It's even non-ag. If you're support ag, please come and join in. It's just a great time. We'll give Jerry a bad time, and it all works out.
Yes. Thanks, man. Oh, by the way, when you leave, did you ask Papa would have the line to come over? And Bruce, I know you have to head over pretty soon. Boy, I wish I could be so important that just instead of a badge, I have soybean delegate, corn delegate ribbon on.
Well, I'd be happy to give you mine, Jerry. We can make that work for you.
Just kidding. But Matt had a great point. Get involved a little bit. If you have a little time, you can be involved a little bit. If you have more time or you find out you enjoy it, all at once, look what your path took you.
Right. You don't have to be a full-fledged director and be involved 100% of the time. Just find out where your passion is, what your expertise is, what your skills are, and volunteer a little bit of time, because that way we're not burning out people doing a lot of stuff at one time, and everybody gets a chance to participate and feel involved. So,
well, I know you have to head over to the meeting too. So, Bruce, We'll be seeing you a little after 11:30 over at the booth.
I'm sure your nose will lead yourself over there, so we'll be looking forward to it. Thanks, Jerry.
All right, thanks, Bruce. That was Bruce Schmall with Minnesota Soybean Growers, but also with the U.S. Meat Export Federation. And as is also tradition for the Minnesota Ag Expo, I have to visit just a bit with Bob Moffett, the American Lung Association of Minnesota. Bob, this is a number of years that we've been working together here at the Ag Expo, too.
It sure is, Jerry, and I sure enjoy coming down to Mankato and meeting the corn growers and the soybean growers. This is really the big winter meeting of farmers in Minnesota. It's the time when we all get together. We have a good time, but we also talk about a lot of serious topics as well.
Well, why don't you talk just a bit, Bob, about the ethanol industry and obviously why American Lung Association developed this partnership with corn growers and soybean growers so many years ago.
Well, we're fortunate in Minnesota to be in an area where you can find alternatives to petroleum fuel. Minnesota is one of the few states that have choices like E85, E30, and now E15, and also biodiesel. We're really the envy of the rest of the nation and the world in that we've been able to figure out a way to put it together, and it's really because of the people here today, the soybean growers and the corn growers who helped make this happen.
Well, and why don't you explain too, Bob, how it all got started? Because up in Minneapolis, the metro area, a number of days every year, we were exceeding the clean air standard.
That's correct. We were exceeding federal standards for carbon monoxide. And so it was decided that we would try going to a E10 blend. But instead of just doing it for the Twin Cities, as most other communities do, our state said, hey, let's just go statewide. Let's just make it the entire state. We did. The carbon monoxide problem went away immediately, and we've been within federal guidelines ever since.
And of course, the reason the American Lung Association was interested in that is because people are healthier when they have clean air to breathe.
Absolutely. As our old motto said, if you can't breathe, nothing else matters. And so it's really important that as our cars get cleaner, our fuels get cleaner too. And that's an important thing to do. With biodiesel, we've done some incredible things. We've got biodiesel blended into all the pumps here across the state. And as a result, it's like taking 128,000 vehicles off the road every year in terms of air pollution. That's really remarkable.
Oh, and we are seeing nice increased demand for biodiesel out east. You know, when you say New York City and Washington, D.C., I think of masses of people and cars and all sorts of pollution. They have real air quality issues, and they also use a lot of fuel oil to heat those big houses and homes, some of those government buildings, and they're starting to blend biodiesel into that to clean up the air.
That's right. They call it bioheat, and it makes sense. As we go to a 5% blend in the winter, the biodiesel that we're not using here can be sold out east, and they can mix it in with their heating fuel. So we can run at full production year-round, and when we go to 5% during the cold weather months, they can get our excess biodiesel when they really need it for the heating oil. So it's a win-win for both sides.
A lot of times you don't think that things work out that well. But you know what? It's either somebody was really intelligent, people putting together as they were figuring all this out, or they just got awfully lucky.
Well, they said back, I love it when a plan comes together. They said on the 18th. It's really a great opportunity for a Minnesota product to be used. And, you know, that's really the history of farming and innovation, finding new ways to use crops, to use products in different ways that are very productive. And I think Minnesota is really a leader here. And I really like looking at the U of M research things out there and seeing what's coming next.
Because there again, corn growers, soybean growers are funding a lot of that research through their checkoff dollars.
I tell you, folks, the farmers here really get it. They understand that investing in research, that investing in biofuels really pays off. And it pays off not just for farmers, but for the entire state with cleaner air. That benefits everyone.
Why don't you explain, Bob, too, just a bit what it does mean for citizens in Minnesota having cleaner air? I know you guys have run some of those numbers on this disease or that disease, and this is what it costs. And I understand, too, that children are particularly vulnerable to air quality concerns.
That's exactly right. The elderly and the children and people who have pre-existing lung conditions, we know are the ones who are most susceptible to air pollution. And we've run some numbers on what's happening in various cities around the country, even here in Minnesota. in a typical year, we figure more than 2,000 people die prematurely due to air pollution here in Minnesota in a single year, simply because the air is not as clean as it could be.
Makes you wonder what that figure might be then in California or New York when you have so much denser population.
Not to mention India or Beijing.
Or China.
Yeah, absolutely. But when you see air pollution like that, we can look to ourselves and say, if it had not been for the Clean Air Act and a few people like these farmers here taking some action years ago, that might be us.
As we've seen the pictures of China particularly, apparently they don't have a lot of concern or haven't for the environment. They wanted to feed their people. They wanted to grow, but I think they're starting to get it too now. Aren't the other countries in the world are starting to get it up?
Well, absolutely, and certainly a lot of the Chinese people are fed up with having to deal with this. No one wants to raise their family in an environment like that. And I'm hearing that a lot of U.S. companies are having difficulty finding people who are willing to go to China now simply because of the health concerns.
What are some of the other issues that the American Lung Association of Minnesota, Bob, are working on?
Well, we're working on a number of issues. We've been working on, I was just hearing about a great program we have of going around to Indian reservations around the country. We're looking at their indoor environments and asthma triggers and things like that, and helping to teach them on how they can help reduce asthma rates, which among American Indians are among the highest rates in the nation.
And do you work some in partnership with the National American Lung Association?
We do indeed. In fact, one of my coworkers is meeting with national staff right now in Tennessee to talk about various strategies. All the local lung associations, we all kind of have some common goals, but we also have the flexibility to do unique programs, like here in the Midwest, working with the biofuel.
I mean, you think that makes sense because a state out east might have different local concerns than like the state of Wyoming or Montana, where you are sparsely populated compared to, so it's nice that each state has their own organization that they can prioritize, but yet nationwide we can work together as a large group.
In the end, it's all about health and clean air and clean lungs, and that's what everyone is working for, and we really appreciate all those who have supported the American Lung Association. If they want to do something more, at the end of February, I'm climbing a skyscraper in Minneapolis.
Well, now you better tell us more about this, Bob.
Yeah, it's called the Fight for Clean Air, and I'm the captain of a team called the Clean Air Climbers, and I am going to climb to the top of the U.S. Bank Center. I'm about 58 years old. I'm a little overweight, and I've got asthma, but I'm going to do it.
All right, explain more about this. You aren't climbing up to the top in the stairway, are you?
I am climbing up to the top of the stairway. The entire way up to the top. It's a fundraiser for the American Lung Association, and it's really a lot of fun. It's called the Fight for Air Challenge. It's if you go to fightforair.org, it'll go to our website. Check it out. If you'd like to join me on that stair climb, please do. Or if not, drop a few dollars in our bin.
Or maybe volunteer. How about let's get this going? Get some supporters yourself and say, I'll help Bob do it. If you give me $10, donate to American Lung, I'll climb with them. And how about that?
Hey, that sounds great. And you can be a virtual climber. Well, there you pay the fee of being a climber, but you don't have to climb. You can just drop in some money for a good cause and wave at the people as they head up the stairs.
How many floors is this?
Oh, my gosh. I forget. I think it's like 60 flights. You don't want to know when you're doing it. But this will be the, I think, 14th time I have done this. I have done it every year since we started. And it's really a great opportunity to get out and raise money for a good cause.
Go to your website for more information, or maybe if you want to get involved.
Absolutely. You can go to the ALAMN.org website or Fight for Air.
And as long as this is the time of year when a lot of us are thinking about income taxes, American Lung Association of Minnesota is a 501c3, right?
We absolutely are. And if you want to donate your car to a good cause, we take those as well.
Or any contributions are tax deductible, too, because you're a 501c3.
Absolutely. And we certainly appreciate the very generous support we've gotten over the years.
Now, are you in need of volunteers too, Bob? Maybe somebody that has some time, any projects or things that someone has some time and say, hey, I'd like to donate some time?
Oh, absolutely. You know, and we'd love to see volunteers out at events like this. People who might have a real passion for biofuels or cleaner air, or perhaps on smoking or other issues. We're always looking for volunteers, so please give us a call.
And you had your website, but I don't even have a bookmark. I just go American Lung Association, Minnesota, and guess what? Any search engine, you pop right up.
Yes, we're pretty good about it. We're in the news a lot, thanks to you, Jerry. So anytime you do a quick search on American Lung Association, Minnesota, up we pop.
All right, thanks, Bob. We'll talk a little more later on.
Thank you, Jerry.
I'm Bob Moffett with American Lung Association. I always enjoy working with the American Lung Association at some of these events. Also, thank you to Elkhorn Clean Fuels in Claremont, the Kenyon Ag Services, Goody Wabasha Corn and Soybean Growers, the Steele County Corn and Soybean Growers, Minnesota Corn Growers, Minnesota Soybean Growers, Syngenta Seeds Research Center of Stanton, the Craig Keller Insurance Agency over there in Nearstrand, Wenzel County and Tax Services in Owatonna, Isaacson's Implement in Nearstrand, Hutton Drainage of West Concord, and as I mentioned again, the Dodge County Corn and Soybean Growers and the American Lung Association of Minnesota.